Should I run Google Ads to sell custom homes? There are a lot of ways to make that decision, and I think at the highest level, it comes down to context. With the wave of AI, I have become increasingly obsessed with thinking about context. Hopefully, you've probably asked ChatGPT this question if you're considering it. And there's all sorts of great ways to provide context to ChatGPT, your business plan, your financials. The better documented your company is, the more likely you are going to succeed in the age of AI. But it still has a limited context window. And you know what has a massive context window is humans and marketing advisors, by the way. But also, as a business owner, you have a lot of, we all run in kind of the same circle inside the home building industry. You have friends who are your competitors. You talk to them, you understand generally maybe their price per square foot. You could probably get a good idea of their margins. You've probably shopped the same marketing agencies, probably bought the same magazine ads. So you can really get a clear idea of what your friends are spending on their marketing, how much of their margin is going towards marketing, how big their margins are, how big their company is, how risk averse they are. And you see all of these things through a lens of your differences too. You already understand your risk tolerance, how your company is different from theirs. Maybe it's more like quality, fewer homes or something like that. And you kind of have this lifetime of maybe subconscious and conscious context that you're applying to your relationships and to your friends. And I think that's really valuable when you're making strategic decisions. So it's really valuable to look at marketing from your peers and friends who you know a little bit of information about, because you can kind of apply this template of context that you have about things you already understand, like your business and their business, building your homes versus theirs. And you can apply that same template to things you don't understand as well, like should you buy Google Ads or not? And then once you understand what their marketing looks like, how much they likely spend on it, what part Google Ads plays in their marketing, you have a kind of concrete foundation of ideas that you can talk to your team with, you can make decisions with. It helps your thinking because you have these exact examples. And it also helps, when you're talking with ChatGPT, with all of your business context, you can say, well, but such and such does this. Why do you think that is? But they're with a great marketing agency. Is that something that a marketing agency profits on, or is it a great strategy? So let's say you're a custom home builder in Miami, and one of your friends is Hullab Custom Homes. So you can just Google Ads Transparency Center for Google, and you can get to this website. Just put their name in, basically. And if they're running Google Ads, Hullab Construction Group. If they're running Google Ads, it'll show up here. Just kind of do that with some of your friends to see what's happening. Also, if it's another local builder, I'm sure that you get badgered by magazine sales reps all the time. So you kind of get an idea. Maybe this person also works, they work with a local agency, or maybe they have a marketing manager. So you have a good idea of their marketing skills versus yours. It looks like they're advertising latest listings. So maybe they do a lot of specs. So maybe they're less risk averse, or maybe they have more capital than you, or something like that. But I guess you get the picture. This is a lot of really rich context, and it's more than just, how many custom home builders in the US run Google Ads, or how common is this? It's really about understanding your context without really requiring any skill. You don't have to really go into Google Ads at all to understand how you feel about this decision. And it gives you some concrete ideas. You could say in your meeting, you're like, well, Hullab does it. And then somebody else is like, well, Hullab also advertises in the most expensive magazine in town. So that's more than our entire marketing budget for the year or something like that, you know? So it just gives you a solid starting point to have these conversations around. There are a couple other notes about running Google Ads just from a top level that aren't really related to this idea of context. One is it requires kind of a bare minimum investment. It's going to be really hard to see what's working with your custom home Google Ads if you're just spending like $500 a month. There's just not enough volume there, and you want to have someone that's pretty skilled at it for it to become profitable. You don't want to just kind of throw money and hope it works. That would be my recommendation. And the other thing is, a lot of companies go from being a remodeler, and then we're like, oh, we want to move up market, but keep the remodels. You know, it's that whole business plan. And selling a remodel is different from selling a custom home, obviously. But that means that we need to think about the marketing differently. Maybe if you run remodeling Google Ads, it's going to be a whole different ballgame for custom homes. So if you think you know Google Ads because of remodeling, I would think again and probably work with somebody who knows what they're talking about as far as the Google Ads. It's a much slower process. It's a lot more about your brand. People aren't buying an immediate need, so it's a very different advertising problem to solve. All right, I hope this video helps you build a better business.